Come, whoever you are. Welcome and good morning to all of you here in the church, as well as those of you joining us online from wherever you may be today. You are indeed welcome, whoever you are, and also just as you are today. The theme of our services for May, May? I've skipped a month. The theme of our services for this month, which is April, is renewal. And today I'm particularly thinking about the renewal of our own community. And our service is called The Place to Be. And I'll say a bit more about how that came to be as we go on. So as you will have noticed, we are differently organised today. We're in what we call cafe-style church, which doesn't mean you get waitress service. As somebody asked me, there won't be tea and coffee coming round. But it does mean that you're sitting in groups around a table, which does mean that there's an opportunity for you to discuss things at various points in the service. For those of you online, you also get a chance to discuss things in groups. I can put you into, depending on how many of you there are, put you into small groups to have your chats. So hopefully we can all participate in the service. So I won't be giving an address. There'll be readings and story and hymns, but otherwise, it's actually an opportunity for you to do some thinking. Don't sound so thrilled. Yes. So I'd like to start with some opening words from Starhawk, which some of you may be familiar with, but they felt appropriate for today. We're all longing to go home to some place we've never been. A place half remembered and half envisioned. We can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. And those of you who've just come in, if you want to find somewhere to sit around one of the tables, that would be lovely. There's a spare seat here, there's a spare seat here, so do make yourselves at home. Wherever that may be. And we'll start, as we always do, by lighting our chalice candle to mark the beginning of our service. And if you're at home, then please do feel free to light a candle with me. Just wait for everybody to settle. Okay. And I'm lighting this flame today, this morning, for this sacred space, both physical and virtual, in which we have all gathered. So this flame is for the community that we create and each one of us individually. So it's a nice sunny day, and I thought we might sing a hymn called The Joy of Living. And it's number 3 in the green hymn books, but as ever, you'll see the words come up for you. We sing the joy of living, we sing the mystery. So let's join together in singing hymn number 3, Joy of Living. I'm glad that advertising a cafe-style service didn't put everyone off from coming. I did wonder at about 10 to 11 when there were just a handful of us here. Thank you for taking the risk. Let's join together for a moment of prayer. And prayer is an invitation to us to be calm in the midst of the tumult of our world and our overbusy lives. It's a moment for us to bring together mind, body, and spirit, and to find some center, some still point of peace and perspective. So here in this sanctuary, which has been home for so many people over the years, so many thoughts and feelings, so many fears and hopes, may we feel free to be here just as we are. May we discover that there are resources within us and beyond us. And come to understand that we are not alone, but always connected, part of the community of life and of spirit. May we discover here that to give is not only more blessed than to receive, but that to give is to receive what we most need ourselves. And I invite you to just, in your mind's eye, in your heart, just bring into this space anyone known to you who may be unwell or suffering in any way at this time. And to wish them well. And to bring into this space also those unknown to us, wherever they may be, in our city, in our country, in our world, who may be struggling or suffering in any way at this time. May light and love flow from us, from our still center, outwards to everyone here and beyond. Amen. So today is Palm Sunday, which is a significant day in the Christian calendar and the start of Holy Week. It's the day that we might remember Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey as the King of the Jews, and as crowds of people waved palm trees, palm leaves around him. It's a kind of moment of triumph, but also a moment of, we could say, defiance, of bravery, of love. Though, of course, we know how the story unfolds. Recently, I've been having conversations with a few of you here and elsewhere, in fact, about the Bible and about the Trinity and about whether Jesus is human or God or both. And I suppose this time of year, being in Lent and Holy Week and Easter approaching, it's a time when those kinds of questions arise particularly. And I'm going to say actually more about that next week. But this week, I want to share a story that I have shared here before, and it's probably one I come back to every couple of years, I guess. It's a story which has something to say about the Messiah in a different way, at the nature of the Messiah in a slightly different way. I don't know its origin. It exists in many places, but I first encountered it in M. Scott Peck's book, The Different Drum, which is all about building community, which is something I believe we do try to do here and try to do in the world. The story is about a monastery. Okay, I'll just wait for you to turn it off. Thanks, Mitch. The story is about a monastery that had fallen on hard times. Once it was a great order, but now there were only 5 monks left. The abbot and 4 others. Clearly, it was a dying order. In the woods surrounding the monastery, there was a little hut that a rabbi from a nearby town used as a hermitage. And as he agonized over the imminent demise of his order, it occurred to the abbot to visit the hermitage and ask the rabbi if he could offer any advice that might save the monastery. The rabbi welcomed the abbot at his hut, but when the abbot explained the purpose of his visit, the rabbi shook his head. He said, "I know how it is. The spirit has gone out of the people. It's the same for me. Almost no one comes to the synagogue anymore." The 2 men chatted. When the time came for the abbot to leave, he said, "It's been wonderful to meet and talk. But is there nothing you can tell me that would help me to save my dying order?" The rabbi said, "No, I'm sorry. The only one thing I could say is that Messiah is one of you." When the abbot returned to the monastery, his fellow monks gathered eagerly around the abbot. "Well, what did the rabbi say?" they asked. "He couldn't help," said the abbot. "The only thing he did say, just as I was leaving, and it was rather curious, was that the Messiah is one of us. I don't really know what he meant." In the days and weeks and months that followed, the monks pondered this and wondered whether there was any possible significance to the rabbi's words. The Messiah is one of us? If that's the case, which one? Do you suppose he meant the abbot? Yes, probably. He meant Father Abbot. The abbot is a wise man and he's been our leader for more than a generation. On the other hand, maybe he meant Brother Thomas. Certainly Thomas is a holy man. Certainly he could not have meant Brother Eldred. Eldred gets crotchety at times. He couldn't possibly be the Messiah. But then again, Eldred is virtually always right. But surely not Brother Philip. Philip's very passive. But then again, almost mysteriously, he has a gift for somehow always being there when you need him. Of course, the abbot didn't mean me. I'm just an ordinary person. Yet supposing he did. As they contemplated in this manner, the monks began to treat each other with extraordinary respect. just on the off chance that one of them might be the Messiah. And they began to treat themselves with extraordinary respect too, just on the off chance that the Messiah was actually them. Because it was situated in a beautiful forest, people still occasionally came to the monastery to picnic, to wander along its paths, and even now and then to go into the dilapidated chapel to meditate. Without being conscious of it, they began to notice, to sense the aura of extraordinary respect that seemed to radiate from the monks and permeate the atmosphere of the place. There was something strangely attractive about it, even compelling. Hardly knowing why, they began to come back more frequently. And they began to bring their friends to show them this special place. And their friends brought their friends. And gradually, some of the younger men who visited the monastery started to talk a bit more with the monks, and after a while, one of them asked if he could join them. And then another, and another. Within a few years, the monastery had once again become a thriving order. And thanks to the rabbi's gift, it was a vibrant centre of light and spirituality in the realm. That's the story of the rabbi's gift. And I leave it with you. But let's sing. Our second hymn is number 148 in our purple hymn books, Spirit of Life. And this is one we sing twice. It's only got one verse, so we sing it twice. It's number 148, Spirit of Life. So as we were singing, I was reminded that we are not just the people here in the room and the people online, but we also have a garden, and I can see that there's been someone, I can still see him, don't all get up and look, enjoying our spiral and our garden at the moment, which is lovely because that is part of the space that we create here. Okay, I'm going to just share with you a reading called Temple, which is by Steve Garnas Holmes, who is a minister from the United Reformed Church. It isn't here or there. It isn't in a place. It isn't a thing. It is empty space. It is the love between us. It's not something that is, but something that happens. Like gravity that exists only between objects in space. The dwelling place of God exists only in the love we hold between us. It is eternal. When we enter that holy space among us, which God creates, we enter God. And nothing can remove us. In the cool of the sanctuary, we listen to the music and we breathe. Words by Steve Garnas Holmes. Now, those of you sitting in this space here will see that there are post-it notes and bits of paper on your table. You might have been trying to ignore them, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you now why they're there. And for those of you online, I hope you're going to be able to use either your own paper at home or the chat box. So recently, Gav, who isn't with us this morning, he's probably making his way up to GA, actually. He's got a busy time up there. Described this place as the place to be, which I thought was quite nice. Seemed to be an endorsement of something. I think he meant it seemed somewhere that was flourishing and somewhere that had energy and where people seemed to talk to each other and care for each other. I may be putting words in his mouth, but that was the impression I got. And if I'm allowed to say, well, I'm going to say Kathy was particularly taken with this idea and liked the idea that we might be the place to be. And Poppy took it a step further. Sorry, I'm naming you without asking you, but as a kind of phrase, as almost like a starting point where we could think about, well, what are we here for? We are the place to be what? In what way are we the place to be? So my first question, and I'm going to invite you in the room to use post-it notes for this, and I do have pens and pencils if you're missing them, so I can provide those. To write on your post-it note, the place to be, and then fill it in with something you think we are the place to be. It might be the place to be quiet. It might be the place to be joyful. It might be the place to be anything that you feel when you come here. This is the place to be. Poppy, would you like to say something? I have plenty of post-it notes, so you can write as many as you like. Later on, I'm going to collect them and put them on sheets of paper so we can keep them. Or you can write more than one on your one post-it note if you like, but it's an opportunity just to think, what do you come here to be? And if you want to talk about that amongst yourselves, that's absolutely fine. And if you want to do it by yourself, that's also fine. But I'm just going to give you a few minutes in which to do that. I'm going to see how many people are online. Hello, people online. If you would like to just do this on your own, that's absolutely fine, and write something into the chat box. That's lovely. There's not a huge number of you, so maybe I won't divide you up. If you want to just share your thoughts between yourselves, that's absolutely fine. You'll have to unmute yourselves, of course, to do that. So, yeah, I hope that's okay. Okay, if you want to be just finishing your thoughts for that, and hang on to those post-it notes because we'll collect them up later. They don't have to have your name on them or anything like that. They're anonymous. Because I have them to hand, though, I will share a few things that came up. I won't name the people, but just a few things that have gone into the chat box here. The place to put the concerns of the week aside and share some deeper thoughts and feelings. The place to be uplifted, reassured, joyful, myself. A place to be nourished by sharing together. A place to touch base. Those are some of the thoughts that have come up from our online community. So thank you very much for those. I look forward to seeing all the rest. Okay, there'll be another thing to do later, but in the meantime, let's come now into a time for reflection. So I invite you now to just make yourselves comfortable, whatever that means for you. And go into that inner chamber. Beneath the where of you and the how of you and even the who of you, to the great I am of you, where hums your secret self. The holy place at the center, where the divine radiates into you and out from you. Go into that quiet space where your forgiveness lies like a sleeping child. Where the beloved waits to greet you. Let's share some silence together. So now to the next question for you, which is a little bit more challenging. You need to put your thinking caps on for this one. But I hope you'll enjoy it. It's not a test. There are no right or wrong answers. There's only your answer. But it's a question that we keep coming back to, and I think we need to keep coming back to it, because otherwise we can get stuck and we can forget why we're here. And the question is, what is our purpose here? No. As a community, as a church, as a community, what is our purpose here? What are we doing here? That's the question, really. And that's why I've given you a slightly bigger piece of paper than a Post-it note. Not because I want you to write an essay on the subject. I really, really don't. I think what we are looking for is a phrase or a sentence. You can do it together on your table. You can discuss it and come up with something. You can discuss it and come up with your own idea. You can think about it by yourself and write what you think. I'm going to give you some examples just to give you a kind of starting point of something that may or may not be. So if you could just listen for a moment. I know you're desperate to get going on this. So a purpose. This is one I hope isn't the purpose, but let's say it was to convert as many people as possible to Unitarianism. Not that. To maintain a historic building for the good of the city. I mean, we might like to do that, but is that why we're here? To provide a spiritual home for dissenters and misfits. To work towards a community of love and justice. I'm just throwing out things, some of which are mad and some of which might have something in them, just to give you the kind of length of number of words that we're looking for and the kind of thing. So what are we here for, actually? And if somebody asked you, a friend said, what is that place? You know, what is it doing there? What's it for? What would you say? So I'll give you a little bit longer for this one because you might need a bit more time to think. So I look forward to reading all the rest at leisure. Please leave them behind so we can collect them in, because I think we would like, if we can, to collectively have a sense that we're all kind of on the same page with why we think we're here and what we think we offer to other people who might be interested in maybe coming here. So it's really, really helpful, and I'll pick that up again in a couple of weeks as well. So carry on scribbling if you'd like to, but I am going to invite you to sing our final hymn, which is hymn number 167 in the Purple Books. It's There Is a Place I Call My Own. It's number 167 in the Purple Hymn Books.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you, for joining in today and embracing the cafe style and the chance to share ideas and thoughts. I know it's a bit different from what we usually do. We used to do cafe style services more often, and I think some of us have missed them, so we wanted to try again doing this. It's a different way of doing church. But it's something that's quite nice to do from time to time, I think, rather than just you sitting there listening. Relaxing, though, I'm sure that can be. It's also nice to have a chance to participate. So I'm going to close with some words. I'm not quite sure where they came from, but I found them. And I think it's called Bless This House, and I'm going to think of the word house in the kind of broadest sense of this place physically, not just this building, but as I said before, the gardens around it, and this place virtually as well, all of us who are here in whatever way. And then we'll have some music to finish. Bless this house and those within. Bless our giving and receiving. Bless our words and conversation. Bless our hands and recreation. Bless our sowing and our growing. Bless our coming and our going. Bless all who enter and depart. Bless this house, your peace impart. Go well.